Hi and welcome to this episode. On this episode, we are going to be importing our drawings, our survey data rather. We'll import our survey data into our Civil 3D, and then we'll do some little settings on the Civil 3D, which is very important. All right, so let's jump right into it. So what I'm going to do right now is to click on my Civil 3D 2022. Now we have the metric and we have the imperial. So if your country are using the imperial unit like in feet and inches, you can use this. If in your country you adopt the metric unit, meters, kilometers, millimeters, you adopt this. So I will double click on my Civil 3D and allow it to load. All right, awesome. So we are in Civil 3D. This is our Civil 3D interface. This is basically how it's going to look like for you. It will interest you to know that Civil 3D is a two-in-one software. You can use it as AutoCAD. You can also use it as Civil 3D. All you need to do is just to switch the interface. Now, if I click on this here at the top here, you see like an arrow pointing down. This drop down, if you come down, you see drafting and annotation. If I click on drafting and annotation, automatically the interface will switch to AutoCAD. So I wouldn't want to go into that. If you have Civil 3D, you can test that for yourself and see how it looks like. Similarly, I have another one by the side. If I click on this, I can click on show menu bar. Automatically it gives me most of my basic tools I'm going to be using for my Civil 3 for my road design. So if you look at this, it literally is arranging everything for you according to the steps that you are supposed to go. Look at what we have on the first here. We have the point, we have surface. Definitely when you import your point, you create a surface, and then definitely before you talk about your alignment, before you talk about profile, before you talk about corridor, then you go to sections. If you want to introduce or have some pipes, you can also include your pipe networks. So it is arranged accordingly for you. We are going to be using that to achieve a whole lot. Now if you look at this here, we have what we call the prospector tab, we have the settings, we have the survey, and then we have the toolbox. What I always like to do is to come to my settings, which is very important that you do your settings. Mind you, we have established this is establish the basic design speed we want to use earlier on. There are a whole lot that you need to put into consideration before adopting your design speed, but that is already going to be provided for you. Everything is based on Federal Ministry of Works, right? Now, but this helps us to see what our road falls. Our road is definitely an urban road, it's not a rural road, even though our road is a flat terrain, right? So our urban road, you can see for arterial street with extensive development, you use 40 to 60. So there is a specification, right? So if there is massive development around there, use 40 to 60. So as at when they constructed this road, I don't know, I can't remember. I don't think if I even have an idea. I don't know if this area was massively developed as it is now, because as it is, everywhere is extensively developed. This particular, for those that are familiar with Kaduna, this is around the CBD of Kaduna. So we have our major business area is along this road, along this other major road. So this is very close to the main CBD of Kaduna. So this place is extensively developed. So it's either So we'll have to adopt a design speed based on what we have here, because this is a rural area, it is not urban, so it's the major Kaduna city. So we can adopt something around here, let's say 60 kilometer per hour, or yeah, we can say 60 kilometer per hour, or we can say 50 kilometer or 40 kilometer. This is basically what they are telling us. So either from 40 to 60, you pick a more comfortable speed for yourself. Now, another thing that is also very, very important that you should take note of is for every design speed. So for every design speed, there is a minimum what we call key value, which I'm going to definitely be showing you that. And then we have the minimum gradient, so it varies for every design speed, right? So when you are dealing with let's say 60 kilometer per hour, the K value is different from when you are dealing with 80 kilometer per hour, or when you are dealing with 100 kilometer per hour. These are very, very key important informations that you should take note of. Right, so if you go to page 87 of our Federal Ministry of Works highway manual, if you go to page 87, that is on your computer, if you have it as a soft copy, but on a hard copy it is definitely not going to be in page 87, okay? But because for the soft copy it is at page 87, so please take note. So you have to carefully check through that on if you are having a hard copy of this. It's very, very important that you have this as a civil engineer that want to major on road. Very, very important that you have this so that you know what you are doing. So this tells us that for a flat terrain, and like you know, earlier we mentioned that our road falls within the category of a flat terrain, so the topography is a flat terrain. And if that is correct, and we said we are doing our design for flat terrain, we said we are adopting 60 kilometer per hour, for example. So if we are adopting a 60 kilometer per hour, our design speed now for our our grade, relation of maximum grade. So this is for our grade. Very, very important. You can see the grade for every design speed varies. So for 50 is different, for 60 is different. You can see as this design speed is increasing, our grade is reducing as well. So you can see for 50 is 60, for 50 is 6 rather, for 60 is 5, for 80 is 4, and then it keeps dropping. Similarly for rolling terrain, similarly for mountainous terrain. But we have already established that our road is a flat terrain, so we are adopting a 5 kilometer per 60 kilometer per hour, and then we say our maximum grade is 5. Now another very key important information that you must note is this: the minimum grade. For our minimum grade, I'm just going to go to the very most important information that we need. It said a minimum grade for the usual case is 0.5%, but a grade of 0.3 may be used where there is an adequate pavement accurately crowned and supported on a firm subgrade, right? So it is very, very important that we know about this. You can see, so we are using a 0.5 as our minimum now, but on a very critical case where you have done everything possible for it to fall within this and it didn't work, so you can also as well use 0.3, but this is the least you can go, right? So this is basically what this is telling us. Very, very important information that you should take note of. So this is for our design speed. Another very important information that we need to know is for our K value, which is here. This is another very key information. So if you could remember, we said we are adopting 5 as our maximum, and then 0.5 is our minimum. So if we are doing our design, we must make sure that our grade falls within 0.5 to 5. I hope it is making sense. And then similarly, we must make sure that our key value when it comes to our vertical curve, we are going to see how we demonstrate all of that, but it's important that we establish this knowledge in order for you to understand what we are doing. We are not just drawing lines and curves. Everything must fall within the standard. So mind you, if you are from any other part of the world and you are watching this, this design manual I'm using is from Nigeria. So this is our highway manual in Nigeria. So for countries it may vary. So in Kenya it may be different, in US it may be different, although we adopt the ASHTO, but we also have our Federal Ministry of Works highway manual that we use, right? So if that is correct, we use the ASHTO as well, but we have our highway manual that we adopt, right? So this is supposed to guide us on every standard that we should adopt. So if you look at this now, for our crest vertical curve for 60 km/h, we say it's 11. Now then for the sack vertical curve, we say it's 18. I hope it's making sense. So if you are designing at 100 km/h, it is 52 for your crest, it is 45 for your sack. But since it is 60 km/h, it is going to be 11 for our crest and 18 for our sack. So I hope everything I have said is making a whole lot of sense. So if you come to the settings, you come to your drawings here, I will right click on it and I'll click on edit drawing settings. Very, very important. Now a window is going to pop up for me here. You know, based on the model we clicked on, it was for metric, so by default everything here is going to be based on metric unit, right? So you can see everything here is in metric unit. The category under our zone is very, very important. This is another very key important information. So you must do this for your design. So for some persons, they use Nigeria and then they will pick Mina. Mina is already there, based on, you know, it's based on the sea level, right? So based on sea level, and you know we have the two major rivers in Nigeria is River Niger and River Benue. So Mina is in Niger, is in Niger State. I hope that makes sense to you. So but another datum that is recommended, you can also use the global, which is WGS84 datum. So you can as well take advantage of this as well. This is how you should go about it. So either you, for some persons, like I said, they use Nigeria Mina. You can also use a global datum. This is also very okay. All right, so we are here. The next thing I'm going to do, like I said, we have prospector tab, we have the settings, and there are two ways or two major ways of, also several ways, but we have what we call the survey data. I can import my data as a survey data. I can also import my data as a Kobo point. This is the most common and the most popular way you see people import their data. Just maybe I may show you how to import your data as a survey data. If you import your data as a survey data, is more like the most more like the automatic way of importing your survey data. It does a lot for you. I might demonstrate that even as we proceed with this training on civil 3D, but I don't know for now if I will do that or not. But then let's say I want to use this particular method of importing my survey data, which is more like the manual method of importing your survey data. So if I right click on the point, that is, I'm in my prospector. Please, if you are on settings, you can't do that. Come to prospector first. You have to switch to prospector, and then you right click and you click on create points. So if I click on create point, I will click on this here which says I should import my point. Now, very key important information that you should take note of is that from our survey data we said we had in our survey data we had points, we have easting, we had nodding, and then we had elevation. There is no description. So in essence, what that tells us is that we have P, we have E, we have N, and then we have Z, and it is comma delimited. We said comma delimited is what we are adopting here, right? So it's comma delimited, P, E, N, Z. I can show you that from our data itself. Good, this is it. So we have P, which is our point 1, 2 up to 0.64 points, however your points. Then we have the E, then we have the N, then we have the Z. We do not have description just like this one. This one has a description, which I stated it in the previous video, that it's important that your surveyor add a description. The description is very important. It's because we are just doing this as a training, so there may be no need for, we can omit that, or we can be excused by that. And I said obviously that you only use this whenever you are just doing a presentation kind of drawing, but for a real life project, by the time you want to do a real design, you have to visit the site and take up those points, and then make sure your surveyor add a description to those points. Very important. So if we are done with that, I can just click on this plus sign here. I think my point is here on my desktop. I'm supposed to close that so that it doesn't affect this import. Make sure that the file type is CSV, because I saved this as a CSV format, and I told you earlier on that you should make sure your file is either CSV or a text file, but just adopt CSV, it's okay for you. So whichever one you do, you still have or get the same result. So I will click on open, and then we wait for it. So you can see automatically our point has been imported. We have the point, we have the easting, we have the nodding, and then we have the elevation. And then so you must arrange this according to what you have on your data. So if I use this for example, you know that it's wrong. So this is wrong. So I must make sure that it is according to how my data is arranged. That is what I'm going to pick here. So this is point, easting, nodding, and then elevation. This here tells you that this is nodding, easting, elevation. This is easting, nodding, elevation. You understand? But we have points, so our own is point, easting, nodding, elevation, which is correct. So assuming we have a description, we would have choose point, easting, nodding, elevation, description. I hope it's making sense. So this is point, easting, nodding, elevation, comma delimited. Very important. Pick comma delimited. So I'll click on OK. So I'll type ZE and I'll press enter. So if you're able to get to this point, I tell you a very big congratulations. Make sure you like this video, share, and subscribe to this channel. Very important. Click on the bell icon in order for you to get a notification whenever I post videos. I post videos like this on a regular basis, just to give you deeper insight and encourage as many that actually want to have a deeper insight on design. So make sure you stay safe, stay blessed. My name is Abel Ray Kantoma, and I will see you on the next one. Follow for more.